What's up, everybody? It's your boy ShowtimeDr. So, I'm gonna start a new video series here. We'll go through community voting, and the basis of this series is basically to uncover new characters or new OP combos or whatever's going on for certain things in the game. And we're gonna start with Golem. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over what Golem does, and I'm gonna throw out some characters that can be effective against what he does. And then you guys, just in the comments, go ahead and let me know, which characters you use, what level Golem you can kill if you feel like having that. But we're mostly looking for the higher level stuff. And because, that's when Golem's at his buffest. And, there's different strategies, there's different heroes that are going to be good with different things. So keep that in mind too, and let's get on with it right now. So right now we're on Soul Weavers. So Soul Weavers that are going to be effective against Golem, and why? Because there's an argument to be made that all these guys can basically be effective against Golem, but I'll give you the argument on... Well, actually, first, let me go over what Golem actually does before we get into which heroes. Golem, he is a Earth element monster that he has lots of AoE going on. So when he attacks, he usually does AoE. He counterattacks with AoE. The debuffs he can put up are defense down and stun. I believe that's it. And he also... Is there anything else he does? I think that's the majority of what he does. Counterattacks fairly regularly. So then he also has some homies with him. He has one of the crystals with him that constantly buffs his attack and defense. And he also has the Treant guy that heals him. And I believe that's the majority. He has something called Aftershock where he gets an additional AoE after a certain point. But anyway, so that's him. Now, as far as heroes that can be effective against him, as far as the Soul Weaver class goes, like really effective, extra effective, DN, because DN blocks debuffs and also puts AoE barriers up on a pretty short cooldown timer. You get a built DN, a well-built DN. You can effectively mitigate the greater majority of the damage he can do to you. So there's that. Destina gets a shout out, so does Acades, because they can both remove debuffs, and that includes stun as well as defense down. I'm not sure. I'm sure May Chloe could be just fine, but don't use her. And then Lots, I'm sure, same thing. Angelica as well, she can block debuffs. Ren, the counter to DN and Angelica being there are that Golem counters them both because he is Earth and they are Water, so they will take more damage. But if you have them sufficiently built up, as you should, if they're your primary or secondary healers, it should be fine. And then I'm sure Shooting Star Arcades is just fine as well. Now we'll get into the Thieves. So, Vildred, not terrible, just because he's hitting more than one person at a time. Says, cool thing about Says, he has heal block, so he'll prevent the healing to where you don't have to focus the Treant if you focus the Treant in your strategy. Haste is the counter class because he's fire. He also puts up Vampirism, which is going to help heal the team, as well as bleeds. And I think what else? He has an AoE. He can do a little bit of AoE bleed damage if he wants. Arbiter, I really don't use Arbiter, so I'm not sure. I'm sure Sid's okay. Karen would probably get fucking wrecked just because she's so squishy. I'm sure Coley could be okay. Well, nah, Coley would have a rough time just because he's all AoE and she does stealth stuff. Surin's actually really effective against Golem because Surin is the bleed queen in the game. It's not uncommon for her to have like 8 bleed stacks up in a battle as long as Golem goes. But the thing about Surin is you have to invest in her attack if you want her to hit and her bleeds to tick as hard as they possibly can. So if she's one of your primary single target DPSers, she can kill Golem pretty much no problem. Not familiar enough with the rest of these characters. I know Coley also uses stealth, so she's probably not as effective, but she can still probably contribute. Sid, I keep hearing, is underpowered, but don't have him, don't know. I'm sure Bloodblade could do fine. She life steals. So now we'll get into mages. Any of your fire mages are going to be really good because counter element. Does Bal say something? Does he do AoE? Yeah, decrease speed and defense and makes him unhealable, so he'd probably actually be pretty good. Well, I think his 2 is AoE as well. So yeah, he'd be good. Araminthia, she does ridiculous AoE damage. She'd be fine. Tenebra, she'd be really good because she dispels and I believe she does AoE defense down. Oh, and increase attack for the caster. That's pretty good. Maybe it was just combat readiness. I might be thinking of the other Tenebria. Well, she does put up decreased defense, so that's still pretty good. Counter class. Oh, well, the other one's right here. Let's look. Oh, she's the one that does poison. Yeah, Specter could actually do really well, because if you're going to run dot teams, like you could run her with, say, Kyrus or Armin or whoever, stack poison as high as you can. Extend debuffs. It's pretty strong, actually. And the poison dot spread as well. That's not bad. Yeah, the mechanic with the tree and the crystal are they're very slow. But if they get their turns off, they can be pretty effective because of heals and buffs. So if you can knock back combat readiness or put it like a slow or something, that could be pretty strong. Who else here? Cerulli's not out yet. Roman actually wouldn't be too bad because, well, actually, he wouldn't be the best though, so I'll leave him out. Auxiliary Loss does pretty good. Mostly because silence. Increase attack and increase combat readiness of whoever your top attacker is, and he could be pretty sick. What else here? These are all the 3 stars. Carmen Rose actually isn't bad if you built her up because she puts decreased speed as well as she can increase her own attack and defense buff. So she's actually pretty good. And increase her speed as well. She's not too bad. So let's keep going here. I'm sure Euphine. She's probably fine. Does ridiculous damage, AoE silence with increased attack and speed to herself. I'm sure as a DPSer she'd be good. Ravi's good, keeps herself up. Ken, I'm sure, although Ken's probably not the best as far as killing it fast, but if you want someone that hits hard eventually, once he gets all his rage meter or whatever up, he could be pretty good. Let's see here. I'm sure Ken would be fun with his counter. Dingo, help bring down cooldowns as well as a little bit of AoE deeps. I'm sure he's fine. Clarissa puts defense down if you run the risk of her, because I know a lot of people invested in her. Golem is counter class though, so you gotta watch that. And then Knight, Cecilia's really good, puts up a lot of debuffs, decreased defense, decreased attack, also has a provoke, puts a shield on herself. Crow, is there anything Crow can't do? I'm sure he's just fine even against Golem. Tywin, same thing, even though they're counter class, because Tywin, he's increasing attack and crit hit of the team. Or the caster and an ally, rather. And then, you know, decreased defense, increased defense for himself. I believe has a taunt as well on his 1, pretty strong. Oh, never mind, it's a dispel. Look at a Crow. Crow has the provoke on his 1. And then Armin's not terrible. Armin can put up, she can increase her own defense, put up poison. I think decrease hit chance, among other things, so less stun. I'm sure Maya's just fine, even though Maya's more of a offensive knight for whatever reason. Has some stuns, provokes, increased defense. Crimson Armin, you really can't ever go wrong with Crimson Armin, because Crimson Armin's going to prevent debuffs from even being on your team for 3 turns, as well as a 1-turn immunity. Decreases critical hit damage. Runner with Aris. She'll take 10% of all damage as well. Pretty strong. And we're getting down to the 3-star units. If you've buffed up Clury could be pretty good if you got her specialty quest out. Oh wait, she's right here, yeah. Falconer Clury. Come on, come on. Look at that personality. Anyways, provoke, defense, decrease defense, dispel all buffs. Pretty sexy. Self-sustain and some combat readiness for her. So those some of the heroes out there. Now, as far as combos, you know, I'll leave that to you guys in the chat. But the combo I usually run, I usually just go in with Katie's, Ravi Haste, and then depending on what I'm feeling at that point, sometimes I'll have another buffer. Sometimes I'll throw in Terranor Royal Guard, or regular guard rather, Terranor Guard. You know, whatever gets it done quicker. If I need more defense, staying power to stay alive, if I'm doing something higher, I'll throw in Armin. If I don't, I'll throw in Terranor Royal Guard or someone else that buffs, or maybe even another attacker like Crimson Rose, etc. But anyways, guys, so this is the community event for at least this next week coming up. So let me know what you run, what combos are OP, what's really good, something I missed, whatever's going on. So, and that's it for me on videos today, guys. So I'll catch you all later on. Peace.